Shalom Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and we do have breaking news coming out of Syria right now. Early reports right now are showing that Israel has actually struck near a military airport in Aleppo. That's coming out. I-24 English News, also Press TV, is just now breaking this 10 minutes ago. And Avichai Stein is where I actually first picked it up on Twitter there. He had said about 6 minutes ago that this was actually happening. We still do not have any actual footage as of yet. It is, according to what we're seeing early on, that is the Syrian government is saying that they believe that it is Israel that has made the strike on the military installation there at the Aleppo airport. Do not know as of yet if Israel has confirmed this strike. More than likely will not confirm anytime soon about the strike that is happening. And at this point now, only that the information that this is actually breaking, nothing else coming out of thus far as of yet. We've been preparing pretty much the biggest part of the day here, looking at prophetic implications of things that are happening there in the Middle East, as well as other issues there, trying to find a path that we're going to take for our broadcast this evening. This one also coming out breaking. According to my Syrian military sources, Israeli Air Force fighter jets, most likely F-15s or F-35s, bombed the IRGC targets in northeastern Narib Air Base, Aleppo. According to my source, several IRGC, which being the Iranian Guard of the Quds forces, personally are killed and are injured. They're showing a satellite view of Aleppo right there. So that's the latest coming out. You know, the Iranian government said they are not leaving Syria whatsoever. They're not going to allow Israel to drive them out of the region there. But that's going to happen pretty much anyway, and because they're getting ready for a new world order, and Israel is going to be a major player in this new world order. And of course, the Silk Road that comes from China that will actually branch off in Iran, and going from Iran down into Israel. Israel will be one of the ports in Haifa, the Silk Road. They're looking to make sure they gain control of that area there. This here being a map here, just kind of give you an idea. It's up there in northern Syria there, closer to the Turkish government, which kind of lets you know the Turkish government allowing this attack without worrying about the airspace where its own troops are stationed at the moment. Kind of some other interesting things too going on. Might mention this as well. Prime Minister Netanyahu was actually caught on an open mic back, of course, it's been about a year ago, but I just listened to this recently, where he was threatening certain European members of the EU there to get the rest of the European members on board and not to worry about human rights abuses inside of Israel. He said China doesn't care, and many other countries like India do not care how Israel deals with its own people, speaking of the Palestinians and the situation there. But he actually goes on to say, and is kind of awkward in the wording there, he does speak in English in the audio here, but he says that, you know, they could prevent another migrant crisis or refugees fleeing into Eastern Europe. You know, and I was really, let me play just a clip of this for you here so you can see what I'm talking about. It's just really a little bit concerning what the Prime Minister was actually saying back then. Let me just play this for you.
We're conditioning the association with Israel, the European, what is it, the EU association with Israel. It's absolutely, may I say, I think it's crazy. You know, I think it's actually crazy.
Now he's talking about it's crazy the part that the European Union, the EU agreement was requiring that Israel have better human rights policies towards the Palestinians. That's what he's referring to when he says it's absolutely crazy.
I'm not talking about my interest, Israel's interest. I'm talking about Europe's interest. I think that if I can suggest that what comes out of this meeting is your ability perhaps to communicate to your colleagues in the other parts of Europe, help Europe twice. One, don't undermine the one European, Western country that defends European values and European interests and prevents another mass migration to Europe. So stop attacking Israel, start supporting Israel. There is no
So that's just kind of odd to me. I know there's a couple of different ways you could probably look at that and what the Prime Minister says, but he wants them to stop attacking Israel. In other words, stop complaining about the situation with the West Bank or Gaza, and instead start supporting Israel, because Israel's the one that's preventing another mass migration of refugees up into their country there. So it puts me a little bit perplexed when I hear this type of speech right there, because I do know the Vatican's heavy involvement with the mass migration of refugees into the European Union. It was really Rome that was behind it. But I also know firsthand myself that we have Jesuit leaders in Israel, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, believe it or not. I do know because I happen to know one of his closest friends that has shared with me that Netanyahu is actually Catholic. And this is something that you're not going to hear probably anywhere else, and I won't say a whole lot about it here on Israeli News Live to begin with, because I'm sure that goes over with like a lead balloon with the Israeli authorities there. And I'm sure they would love to just ban me from the country because of the things that I do know and I'm willing to speak about. Also, though, another interesting thing that is happening is the White Helmets, the exodus managed by the Regime Change Coalition in Syria. They're on the run and freaking out because there's been such headways made by the Syrian government with the help of Russia. And now they have about 1,000 of their support team trying to flee Syria and looking for safe passage. They've reached out to President Donald Trump as well as Holland in the UK, and they're looking to get asylum inside of course, none other than Europe. And I think that's kind of interesting because there's 300 of them, according to the article by Vanessa Beeley here, that are in grave danger, as the article reports there, of being executed by the government as traitors, treason, and terrorists. After all, they are the ones that have been noted to be behind the publicizing and propaganda machine of false chemical attacks, and in some cases real chemical attacks that were perpetrated by their group instead. But they've been lobbied by the U.S. as some kind of great organization, humanitarian organization rescuing the civilians. But yet we see the other side of the coin too, that shows them beating Syrian soldiers that are captured and killing them and beheading as young as a 14-year-old boy as well amongst members of this particular organization. Makes you wonder, are they truly Syrian civil servants, or are they really just a propaganda piece bolstered by the West, and maybe in many cases not even Syrian citizens to begin with? Well, it kind of stands to be true when they're all trying to flee the country because they're worried about what's going to happen. Anyway, still plan on bringing out another broadcast here later this evening. I wanted to catch this with Aleppo and the situation happening inside of Syria right now, because this is a developing story. Wanted to get this up before you because of the nature of this here. And keeping in mind, it may not be Israel, it could be the U.S., but I highly doubt the U.S. coalition would be doing bombing around Aleppo. And of course, Israel is getting more and more involved in trying to strike Iranian targets in this region. And again, it's all over this New World Order. It's all about the One Belt, One Road initiative, the Silk Road, that's going to be part of the economic powerhouse. And we may be looking at that prophetically this evening because there's so many people that are just totally missing what's really happening. Stand with our broadcast if you would. Support the work we're doing, IsraeliNewsLive.org. You can donate online, as well as the video later this evening. We'll share with you our address here in the United States if you'd like to be a part of the work that we're doing here. Your help is greatly appreciated. Shalom, shalom, and talk to you guys again very soon.